Hello, Mr. Invisible Man. How are you doing?
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of our kindergarten culture shocks in Germany video. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are a family of 6 with 4 kids.
And a cat.
We moved from America to Germany in February of 2021, and we're sharing all of our adventures with you. So last week, we talked all about some of our kindergarten culture shocks here in Germany. And if you haven't watched that video, go check it out in the video description below. Today, we're gonna add a few more things. And as we promised you last week, we're gonna share our daughter's experience. She is 5 and she's been in kindergarten now. So let's start with a few things that we wanted to make sure we added on that we didn't mention in the last video. So one of the things we didn't talk about was Vorschule. And Vorschule is sort of more going towards what is done in American kindergartens, but not really. It's still a lot different. It's from ages 5 to 6 in Germany, and the children are taught the basics of letters and numbers and, you know, cutting skills and how to write their names and things like that.
And essentially, you take your last year of kindergarten before you go to first grade and get you sort of more prepared for the academic type stuff that you're about to do. So it's in that last year of kindergarten, just getting you ready. As
so many of you have mentioned to us, and as we've learned from living here, Germany is not a homogenous country. Everything isn't done the same. It's like in the US, things are different by state and different by region. It's the same here. So in our kindergarten, which this may not even be true for all of the kindergartens in our Kreis even, or
who knows,
or our state, the Vorschule kids are pulled out of the classroom. There's like a big classroom and then a little classroom attached to it. And they are pulled out for 1 hour, a couple of times a week to go over these things. So the majority of their time in that last year of kindergarten is still playing.
Similar.
Yeah, it's still play-based. So I don't know, you let us know in the comments below how it's done in your region of Germany. We would love to see how varied it is and different it is across the country. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of differences.
And Ella hasn't gotten to her Vorschule year yet, so we haven't experienced ourselves. We've just sort of seen it, and so we're anticipating, you know, what's going to come next year when she gets to that point.
Yes, we don't have like an personal experience to share with you yet. And one thing we want to point out from your comments last week is that kindergarten is not free all over Germany. It does vary by state. It does vary by region. So it's going to cost anywhere from 25 euros a month to 200 euros a month or more. And it depends on your income level. And it is adjusted by your income level. So the lower income levels are not going to have to pay as much. Yeah, so for those of you outside of Germany who might be thinking about moving here, we said in our video last week that kindergarten was free, so we want to clear that up. It may not be free in your area. It just depends. And the last thing we want to mention before we talk about Ella's experience here was that our experience with our boys in kindergarten,
back in
America, I didn't even want to send our kids to preschool back in the US because I knew how they push academics right away, that there's a lot of pressure, that they're sitting down, and I didn't feel it was developmentally appropriate, that the kids needed to be running around, being active, playing outside in the mud, playing on the playground and doing things like that. We didn't even send our first 2 boys to preschool because I just wanted them to be kids and have fun. Now looking back, you know, Kevin was at work. It was a lot harder for me. I needed a break. I needed the kids to be out of the house. So I wish, looking back, I would have just put them in school for the basically, very inexpensive childcare. It wasn't free, but
What's funny too is, I think my mom had that same experience. I was the youngest of 4 kids, and none of my brothers or sister went to preschool. But once I came around, the last one, my mom was like, "Get in preschool.
You're
I
my
need some
fourth
time.
kid. Get out.
I need time with
I'm done."
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So yeah. So I guess that progression is maybe more
Normal.
People, yeah, normal progression.
After 2 kids being at home until they were 5 and 6 with no break, I was ready to send them to preschool. So our 3rd son, Griffin, I sent him to preschool. He didn't like it either. He is very, very smart. And he is very academically inclined. He reads a lot. He's ahead for his age. And he didn't like preschool at all. And we couldn't figure out why he didn't want to go. And it went on like this for a good year. And finally, when Ella was born, it was very difficult for me to be taking care of a newborn and taking him to school every day. And so I just decided, fine, you don't like it, you don't have to go, it's not required anyway.
Didn't have to fight him anymore to get him to go.
Yes. And so I thought it was too hard for him or something. I didn't know why he didn't like it. So later he told me he was super bored and didn't like what they were teaching him because he already knew all of it. So we wondered if he had grown up in those early years here in Germany and went to a play-based kindergarten where the academics weren't being pushed, maybe he would have enjoyed it more, because I think developmentally, Griffin just needed to play. He needed to be active and having fun and learning those social skills. And of course, kids learn through play, so they learn a lot while playing. And we wonder if he would have enjoyed German kindergarten more. Perhaps. Maybe. So we don't know, but we think maybe that could be the case. Okay, so I lied a little bit. It wasn't the last thing. We have one more thing to share with you. And those are some of my favorite comments from the last video. Kevin and I have really enjoyed taking these deep dives into German culture with you, because we get to take a deep dive into American culture. And I think when you look into a culture very deeply, you can always learn something. There's things that Americans can learn from Germans, and Germans can learn from Americans, and all in between, and all the countries of the world, we can all learn from each other. And that's the great thing about living abroad.
And our experience here is just one data point, and it's just what we've experienced, and what we get to see is all of you and what happens. So we get a much broader, much more representative view of what's happening all over Germany, by hearing your experiences as well as just our own.
Yeah, so we really enjoy your comments. We really do try to read as many of them as we possibly can. So here's a few of my favorites. This is from B3CE. I remember when I was in university, I read an essay that really impressed me. The case study was a series of experimental top-rate kindergartens in a specific region of Italy, where I am from. Cutting to the final results, it said that, as Sarah says, 3- and 4-year-olds can learn a lot, but it is a waste to teach them the traditional reading, writing, sums, etc. at that young of an age. This is because there is no significant advantage in learning it a couple of years earlier. We've seen many studies on that as well. And this is the part that stunned me the most. At that age, the brain is at its most agile and developing phase. This should be the time when kids are given the chance to explore all of those interests and disciplines that are sort of at the margins of the traditional schooling system. Art, music, dance, cooking, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is the time when actual talents and inclinations start to come out. If you train them to concentrate only on writing, you are stifling all that other universe of a child's development. And she goes on to say a little bit more. And then Alex Pond says, kindergarten in Germany is to play and experiment, develop social skills. Families are smaller today. Many of you said that. Families are smaller today, having only 1 or 2 kids. So the social skills taught here in kindergarten have become even more important. I thought that was really interesting. Body awareness and other things, interacting with other kids, learning to be sure of themselves, emotional development. Many of you mentioned emotional development, and how to cope with new situations and conflict.
Marie Me says, thank you for the interesting video. I have a friend in the U.S., Atlanta. Isn't that funny? That's where we came from. And his daughter goes to kindergarten. I was very shocked when he told me all the parents have a special app in order to get real-time information about their children. That is, if Ella would not be eating her potatoes for lunch. You get informed right away. The parents also get at least one photo per day taken by the kindergarten teacher. And when his daughter bit another child, my friend got a formal letter by the kindergarten. His daughter was 2. It sounds awful that children are kind of watched by their parents in everything they do. My friend here in Germany has a 20-month-old daughter, and they have an appointment with a teacher only every 6 months to talk about the child's development. I think that's much better. And also, what you said, the children should get the opportunity to learn how to make their own decisions. So, yeah, really interesting comment.
Which brings up another point that there's a lot of behavioral problems in American kindergartens and preschools and elementary schools. And I do think in large part it's because the children are asked to do things that they are not developmentally able to do, which is sit still for long periods of time, sit still and be quiet. And the active children who have a lot of energy, this is very detrimental to them. And then they start to begin to believe that they are bad, that they are misbehaving bad children. And I think that harms their confidence and their, self-awareness and self-worth from a very young age, and that's so detrimental. As we know as adults, your confidence and self-worth affects everything that you do in your adult years. And anyway, so I'm very curious to know, guys, please let us know in the comments below, are there such behavioral problems in German kindergartens and Grundschule? But especially, let's focus on kindergarten, I guess, because even Ella would come home from preschool in America and tell me all the different kids who got in trouble. This kid Noah was always in trouble in her class, and my heart would just break hearing that Noah at 3 years old is getting punished over and over again. And I'm like, why are they punishing this child, and why aren't they just redirecting him like you're supposed to do with a toddler? Redirect. And why is he getting punished? And it broke my heart. So Ella never comes home now and says that anyone got in trouble. So I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. I think this would be a fantastic discussion, maybe a whole nother video
Who knows?
later on.
And I will say this, what Maria is talking about of, getting real-time photos and all of that is totally the case. We got that when Ella was in her preschool there,
Helicopter parents.
I mean, they would say exactly what she had eaten and it was
every day.
Yeah,
Came
it was
home
pretty funny.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really care, but thanks. A lot of you I saw in the comments really liked seeing Ella light a candle because that is a big thing here in Germany in the kindergarten. So Ramona says, and they don't only learn to light a candle, they also learn to act responsibly when there is an open fire, like not running around near a candle, or if they're playing at a table where a candle is, to always look after it so they won't burn themselves. And several of you said, we teach kids in kindergarten, starting at the age of 3, to respect fire, and we make a big deal of learning how to swim, because those are 2 things at a young age that could be life or death for them, right? So you're helping save their life if they grow up with respect for water and fire. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So Blackie Gaming says, in Germany's many kitas follow the concept of self-education and co-constructive education. Okay, so kids have their own motivation to explore, examine, experiment with their surroundings and new materials. What some people plainly see as messing around with material or playing games is considered self-education. The co-constructive education takes place with the interaction between kids and between kids and the kindergarten teacher, and that's part of the reason why we have mixed age groups. Older kids often take care of the younger kids, and they show them new things, try to explain something to them, and they're very strict about the rules. Of course, the kindergarten's main goal is to get the kids ready for school, so learning social, emotional, cognitive, motor skills is crucial. So, that's actually been a really big trend in education, at least, at the university level. When I was still a university professor, is talking about this near-peer mentoring, where you have have a high school kid being mentored by a college kid. Yeah, where college kids might be mentoring high school kids, and they're more likely to listen to someone that's close to their age, or see themselves as being being capable of doing that thing that person just 2 years older than them is doing. So
Mama und Daddy ein Video machen?
So I didn't really think about how the mixed age groups in the kindergartens are achieving that same goal by having the older kids show the younger kids. So it's really neat to see.
I mean, like, that's still true today, because when we were moving to Germany, I wanted to follow the blogs and YouTube channels of foreigners who lived in Germany with children. I wanted to hear from peers who were living my same lived experience, right? So,
Sure.
Yeah. All right, guys, so now we're going to show you the footage of Ella's kindergarten experience, and it was filmed last week. We split the video into two because otherwise it would have been oh my gosh, a huge, really long video. So we'll show you Ella's experience now. So what would you say, like, I mean, our expectations were for how it was going to be before we arrived? I wonder if it's the same as mine. What I was going to say.
Oh, I don't know. I just figured, well, they're just little kids. They're going to go and play, and she should probably be okay. And I don't know. I guess I didn't really think it through so much.
Me either.
What it was going to be like in kindergarten. I thought more, what it's going to be like for the academics for the boys. But
we were more worried and focused on the boys because we knew they had to keep up their academics. And it had to be a good experience. But for Ella, we were just like,
well, she'll go and
like preschool and fun. And she's going to play and make friends, and we don't need to worry about it.
It was hard for her.
It was hard, though.
Yeah.
I think for us, we were reminded that every experience is individual. And before we moved, we heard a lot from other expats and in Facebook groups and in videos and stuff that kids learn a foreign language so fast. Like, it's so easy for little kids. The younger you are, the faster you learn it.
Yeah, sure.
So we were like, great, Ella's only 4. She's going to learn it the fastest. This is going to be easy. And we found that with her personality...
Well, she's also very sophisticated, because she understood, I'm in this new country, I'm in this place where everyone speaks this different language, and I don't speak this language. And she actually put a lot of pressure on herself.
Yes,
that she would need to speak German from day one in this place, and she didn't have the experience enough to know, well, it doesn't matter if it's on day one, it doesn't matter really when it happens, but she felt that she needed to go and be able to speak German.
So she was excited to go to her first day of kindergarten, but that first day scared the poop out of her, as we say, and I was with her the whole time. I didn't leave the classroom. They let the parents stay in the classroom. And so this is another little part that I think is really cool here. We don't really have so much in the US, but it's a very organized way to acclimate children to going to school or going to Krippe or Kita, and it's called the Eingewöhnung. Gewöhnung?
I think that's right.
It has the umlaut, so I know it's pronounced differently.
Eingewöhnung, yeah.
Eingewöhnung, yes.
Eingewöhnung.
Eingewöhnung. And so we had that period, and here in kindergarten, though, it's like 1 hour a day the parent stays with the parent for a week, and then it gradually gets less. But for us, Ella was scared to death. The first day, she just thought, oh no, everything is absolutely in German. And she left, it was not good. Like, she left feeling scared, and she said, Mama, it's so much noise. It's just total noise, so much noise, noise.
She couldn't understand, so it was just noise to her because all the speaking, was unintelligible.
And it really upset her, and she thought, I can't talk to anyone. I don't know German, so I can't make any friends.
Well, I wonder if that's what was going through her head, or if it just was, I'm supposed to be able to speak and I can't. I don't know. I don't know what it was. But what was really interesting...
She really wanted to make friends, though. I do know that. She's very social and very friendly.
And what she realized, what clicked for her that made the difference eventually, it took weeks, really, for her to catch this, is that she's like...
It took weeks for us to understand, too.
But she flipped this switch in her head that I don't need to speak German. I can just speak English. And they're just going to speak German back to me. And I mean, it's not like they're discussing, world philosophy or anything, at 4 and 5 years old,
Astrophysics.
They don't have to have these deep in-depth conversations. But when she realized, hey, I just talked to them in English, and sure, they don't understand. And then they talk to me in German. I don't really understand. But then we play and I get to make friends anyway. Yeah. When she took that pressure off of herself to perform, then it was a lot easier for her. And then ironically enough, she ends up with a Spanish-speaking kid as her best friend anyway, so...
And they never speak they don't understand each other.
Right. But
But
it
they
doesn't
love
matter.
each other.
Yeah, they're super good friends.
Well, and that's why Ella was so scared for me to leave her in the kindergarten, because she said, Mama, what if I have to go to the toilet? I can't even tell the teacher I need to go to the bathroom, that I need to pee. You know, and it was little things like that. She's like, what if I'm hungry? What do I do? And I was like, well, that part was solved because she could eat anytime she wanted. So that made her feel better. But she's like, if I have to go to the bathroom or if I need something, I don't know what to say and how to say it. And so, you know, for those of you who don't live in Germany, all Germans learn English from 3rd grade on.
Well, at least here it starts at 3rd grade.
Yeah, here in Bavaria or in our Kreis or whatever, I don't know. But, and so Germans speak good English. I mean, all you guys commenting, we've gotten...
Put us to shame.
Yeah, we're amazed at your level of English.
We're stumbling over Eingewöhnung and all these other...
I mean, your English is amazing. And so I thought, there's a good chance these teachers at least understand a basic
English,
you know,
right.
basic English. So then she started, once I was able to help her understand, you can speak in English to your teachers, you can say everything you want in English, and they don't care at all. They speak German back to her, so she's learning
Which is good.
English.
I'm glad they do that.
Yeah. And she's learning German that way. I speak in English. She's learning by context. She's learning by, you know, facial expressions and body language. Even with the masks on, the teachers do have to wear masks still. And I do think that slowed down the progress a little bit. But, you know, we can't do anything about that. So you have to work around it. And then just the language of play. She started to learn, I can laugh and be silly and play tag and run around and do things and not have to understand every word that's being said or spoken.
It just baffled me that she was so aware that she was supposed to speak German and that was this big weight on her at 4 years old. She was able to realize that or felt that. Very interesting. So
I think a young 3 or 4 year old who's a very sort of go with the flow, you know, light and free-spirited kind of person might do very well moving abroad and might be able to go to a classroom where they can't understand a word and
not be as big of a deal.
And not worry about it. But that's not going to be true for all personalities, you know. It really depends, I think, on the personality and what that person individually needs. So it took a good 3 or 4 months before Ella wanted to go to kindergarten, and we actually took a whole month off and didn't even go because she was so overwhelmed after we moved here. And so we just helped the boys with, they were not even going to school every day. It was during lockdowns. So they were home and we were helping them with their schoolwork, and it was enough. Like, we really couldn't handle also helping Ella get integrated. It was too much. And that month off was really good because she ended up becoming friends with some of the lovely kids in our neighborhood. And that helped her feel like, oh, that's when she learned, I can just play and I can speak English. They can speak German to me and it doesn't matter. And the parents speak English. So if she's at their house playing, they often will speak English with her, and that has helped her feel more comfortable here. And now she has absolutely no problem getting on her little roller, her scooter, and going down the street. I always watch her, you know, watch her go down the street, and she wants to go by herself because she loves the German self-reliance culture.
She's all about that.
Yes, she is all about it.
Adopted that wholeheartedly.
She's like, Mama, you don't need to follow me down the street. I'm like, you're 4 years old.
Well, she's 5 now. But...
yeah, I'm not going to let you run around town at 5, okay? But you can go down the street, and I watch her. If I walk any closer, she'll like turn around and yell at me, Mama, no,
I don't need help.
I don't need your help. She is something else. She's definitely a little firecracker. Anyway, so now she goes off and goes and plays at her friend's house down the street, and it's great. But she still doesn't love going to school. It's
going to kindergarten. It's not school.
Yeah, I just said school again. You see, it's so ingrained in me. School. I mean, my whole life I've lived in the U.S. and I've only lived 7 months in Germany, so it's going to take a while. Yeah, and she's not still super crazy about going to school. She still has a hard time when I leave, but we're working on that. And I think that's just her personality again, and not so much us being in Germany.
And whenever we go to pick her up, she's always smiling and happy and having a good time.
And she says, I had a great day,
time.
Mommy.
Yeah, right, so...
Yeah.
We know she's enjoying it, really.
Yeah. And having one little best friend there, like we said, it's a little boy who's actually Spanish speaking. And so he's learning German as a second language as well. And
it's funny that way how you always sort of end up congregating with other foreigners. It's so much easier and natural, it seems, no matter what your age is.
Yeah. So I asked Ella if she would get on camera with us and speak a few German words and phrases for you, because she's actually speaking in full German sentences now, and she uses quite a bit of German around the house. She's made Kevin
bedtime. She's like, no, you have to tell me that in German.
Tell me that in German, Daddy.
Yeah, it's funny.
But she said, I don't want to do a video, Mama. So just so you guys know, we never make our children get on camera for YouTube. You know, this is Mama and Daddy's thing. And if they want to be on camera, it's fine, but we never make them. So we're not going to make Ella speak German for you right now. But you just have to trust us. She says things like that she would say to her friends, like, Ich komme gleich. You know, I'm coming soon. She says bis bald. You know, she says all of the greetings.
Sure.
You know, tschüss and bis bald and bis später.
Das ist meine.
Yeah, she says das ist meine all the time.
That's mine.
Das ist meine.
Hands off.
Yeah. She learned that. And then she surprises me all the time. She'll say, you know, Mama, do you know what the word for doll is in German? You know, she says it like, I bet you don't know, Mama, and I do. I said, what, Ella? Poopin'. You know? And so it's really cute. She's definitely, it's accelerating now, and it is happening fast now. But it took a good 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, so it was more of an adjustment for her than we expected.
Yeah. And thankfully, kindergarten is not required, so we took our time.
Yeah.
And she did not go every single day, and she, like I said, she didn't go for that full month. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to show you some of the pictures from Ella's birthday, because German birthdays are celebrated much differently here in kindergarten than in the U.S. I don't know if it's done like this in all German kindergartens, but in Ella's class, they sit the child on this like throne that they made. It's a chair that they made look like a throne, and they make their own crown out of paper and sequins and stuff, and they wear their own crown, and they bring a baby book with pictures in it, and show all the kids what they look like as a baby. And they sing a happy birthday song that is completely and totally different than what we sing. It's not happy birthday to you song. It's a totally different song. So we had to learn a new song, and it's a lot longer than happy birthday. So that was a thing, an adjustment. And in Ella's kindergarten, they let them pick out a little toy from the treasure box. And this is similar in the US. The parents bring cupcakes or some yummy food to share with the class. It's the same in the US. So we did that as well. So I have some pictures to show you of how cute she was. She had a really fun day and really enjoyed getting to be, you know, queen for the day in kindergarten. And then we had a little birthday party here at the house and had a few of her friends from kindergarten. It was just low-key. They just played games and things like that. But it was really nice to get to experience that here in Germany. All right, guys, so that's all we have for you today. Hope you enjoyed this video. And thanks, as always, for your comments and your subscriptions and your likes. And thanks for watching.
Cheers.
#awkward. Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.